Hello everyone, this is Donald the Repentless. With the first episode of this going to be a mini-series about the Community of Christ World Conference, to be called A Former Member's Take on the 2016 Community of Christ World Conference. I'm going to try to do as an in-depth a look at it as I can, considering that I'm not participating, or not even a member of the Community of Christ anymore, from, like I said, an outsider's perspective and an atheist perspective. The next segment of this video will be the reason why I'm making this series. The reasons why I'm doing this mini-series like I am is twofold. First off, one of my hobbies is to study and research the history of the Mormon movement, or Latter-day Saint movement, depending on how you want to term it. And secondly, because I used to be a member of Community of Christ, and I've experienced 2 world conferences myself as a delegate. So I want to and I'm still interested in the Community of Christ. I still have there's a lot of members in the Community of Christ that I have a fondness for, even though I'm no longer a member of the church and no longer a Christian in general. So those are the reasons why. And also because, like I said, this is an interesting topic. Community of Christ has an interesting history. And so this first episode is going to cover basically an overview of Community of Christ World Conferences, how they differ from the LDS conferences, the activities that take place during the World Conference. Keep in mind that most of the information that I'll be giving in this video comes from first-hand experience in World Conferences and the things that have kind of changed since the last time, since I actually went to a Community of Christ World Conference. So the first thing will be in order is how the Community of Christ World Conference differs from the LDS church conferences. Before I get into the differences between Community of Christ World Conference and LDS World Conference, I think I need to make it clear that in this mini-series, I'm going to present the events of this World Conference of Community of Christ in as unbiased a way as possible. Since I'm no longer a Christian and that kind of thing, any kind of differences of opinion that I had with World Church leadership, any criticism that I had of their decisions and so forth, is all water under the bridge. But the main difference between a Community of Christ World Conference and an LDS General Conference is that, on top of like the usual sermons from church leadership, there is also a legislative element to a Community of Christ World Conference. Not only is, and there's various activities that go on during the week of World Conference, like a sing-along or hymn festival. Hymn festival, that's what it's called. And other activities, which I'll describe later in the video. But having been there for a couple of World Conferences, it's a very exciting week. You get to meet people from all around the world. Sometimes you get to eat dinner with people that you would never have met otherwise. And like I said, it's a very exciting experience. It's a very fun experience. It's a week where you spend with all these people. I remember when I went there, I might be autistic, if you don't know that already. And I would leave the legislative sessions and so forth a little early, like at the beginning of the last hymn, so I could get out there before the huge 2,000 plus people crowd starts exiting the building, and I'm in this sea of humans and very nervous, or whatever the word may be. But anyways, like I said, and I'll get into that later as well. A lot of the activities do involve the legislation and that part of the conference. Yeah, next segment. During the week of World Conference, there are plenty of worship services that go along with the legislative services. Excuse me. Tonight, for example, as I'm recording this, they're having the ceremony for the International Peace Award, which I will talk in more depth about later on. The Sunday night service, the first Sunday night service, is usually the First Presidency's talk. Then they have talks from various other leaders throughout the week, and one of the evening services is for the ordination of new leaders within the quorums, leadership quorums of the church. There's really not much more to say than that. I'm not watching the evening service right now because I don't want to hear a sermon. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I don't want to hear a sermon. And I want to get this recorded in a fairly timely manner so I can get into a rhythm of recording at least 1, 2, maybe 3 episodes every day, because there's a number of topics. In fact, the episode outlines are starting to build up, and I may still be making videos about the Community of Christ World Conference next week. Not the week after this, even after the World Conference is actually over, because there's a number of topics I want to discuss in regards to the World Conference and the proceedings and all that, and I wanted to be able to do justice to each subject that I want to talk about during this series. The bulk of activities during Community of Christ World Conference has got to be the legislative sessions, usually having, at least through Monday through Friday and maybe Sunday, having 2 legislative sessions a day, one in the morning and one in the evening. Between those legislative sessions, there are other activities relating to the legislation part of it, including caucus sessions, caucus quorum sessions, information sessions, consensus building discussions, and so forth. One of the interesting things about the legislative part of it is whenever a Community of Christ president presents a document to the conference to be included in the Doctrine and Covenants, it goes through a process of where the various quorums and caucuses discuss and vote on accepting it. Then it goes before the conference as a whole and is discussed and voted on to be added. And then, like I said, you have this process for that, and also the legislation are discussed in depth in the caucus sessions and the information sessions and the consensus building sessions, and it's brought before a vote where it's discussed again, and using parliamentary procedures and the standing rules that have been put in place for the conference, which I'll get more into when I talk about the opening session of the conference in a later video. But having been a part of that process 2 times, it's a very interesting, fascinating procedure. It's one that a lot of churches use, and like I said, this is the big difference. Is people being able to voice their opinion, to have a vote in the process. which was described by Joseph Smith III as a democratic theocracy. Some people might say that that's a contradiction, but it is a process that has worked for Community of Christ for over 150 years. And even though there's been changes in that over time, and changes continuing with that process, like I said, it's been a process that has worked fairly successfully for Community of Christ. Community of Christ has presented its International Peace Award since 1993. The current recipient, which is being honored right now in Independence, Missouri, in a ceremony service, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. I really don't, and I'm going to butcher it either way. Lema Gaboy? At least I think that's how it's pronounced. I may have just, like I said, totally butchered that name. But, like I said, it's been awarded since 1993, and past recipients of the award include Terry Tempest Williams, Dr. Jean Vanier, Ella Gandhi, Jane Goodall, and the first recipient of the award was Jahan Sadat in 1993, like I said before. I guess it's a fairly prestigious award. I think it would be, because, you know, honoring people who try to strive for peace is always a good thing. So, but like I said, that ceremony is going on right now, and it's doesn't have the longest history of existence, but it has been around for a while. And in the years that they have conferences, they always award the award during conference, like they did, like I said, tonight. So this has been episode 1 of a former member's take on the 2016 Community of Christ World Conference. Thank you for watching. If you like this, give it a thumbs up, share it on social media, comment, and subscribe for more of this mini-series and other series I have. This is Don the Repentless signing off. Have a great one, everyone.